It was a cold, rainy night in London. The streets were almost empty, and the sound of rain echoed through the dark city. Henry was returning home after a long shift at work. He had already missed the last train. His phone battery was dead. There wasn't a single taxi in sight. As he walked through the rain looking for shelter, he noticed an old double-decker bus parked under a flickering streetlight at a lonely bus stop. The bus looked strange. Rust covered its body. Henry felt uncomfortable the moment he saw it, but the rain was getting heavier every second. He had no other choice. Slowly, the bus doors opened by themselves. Henry hesitated for a moment before stepping inside. The interior was dark and silent. Inside the bus, the doors shut behind him with a loud metallic sound. There were only 3 passengers. Elderly woman dressed completely in black sat near the front holding prayer beads in her hands. A little girl wearing a red dress sat quietly beside the window. And at the back sat a young man in a dark hoodie, staring down at the floor. Nobody spoke. The atmosphere inside the bus felt heavy, almost suffocating. A few minutes later, Henry casually looked outside the window, and suddenly, his heart skipped. The same red phone booth passed by again. A few seconds later, the same coffee shop appeared. Again and again. The bus was driving in circles. Henry stood up nervously. Driver, are we going the right way? The driver didn't respond. He didn't even move. Henry felt his heartbeat rising, slowly. The little girl in the red dress stood up from her seat. Without saying a word, she began walking toward him. A strange smile spread across her face. Henry tried to stay calm until he noticed something horrifying. Her feet were turned backwards. Henry froze instantly. Before he could speak, the young man sitting in the back finally looked up. His face was pale and exhausted. This bus isn't normal. His voice trembled. Henry stared at him silently. The young man continued, I boarded this bus 3 years ago. He rushed toward the driver. Stop the bus, no. But the driver remained silent. The bus slowly stopped beside an abandoned graveyard hidden beneath thick fog. Dead trees surrounded the road. The atmosphere became unbearably cold. The conductor slowly pointed toward Henry. Quenfi, the new guest. Henry panicked. He rushed toward the doors and tried forcing them open. Nothing happened. Finally, Henry understood the horrifying truth. These weren't ordinary passengers, trapped spirits connected to the mysterious bus. Without wasting another second, Henry grabbed the emergency hammer hanging beside the window. With all his strength, he smashed the glass. Horace! Cold wind exploded into the bus. The lights flickered wildly. The passengers screamed. Henry immediately jumped through the broken window and landed hard on the wet road outside. Rain poured heavily around him. Breathing heavily, he turned back toward the road. But the bus was gone, slowly disappearing into the thick fog. As if it had never existed. Days passed, but Henry could never forget what happened that night. He stopped sleeping properly. 1 week later, during another rainy Monday night, Henry sat alone inside his apartment trying to calm himself. Then suddenly, his phone rang. Unknown number. His hands trembled as he answered the call. Only static could be heard. Stop, Henry. Slowly. Henry turned around. Standing silently in the corner of his dark room was the little girl in the red dress, smiling. 1 year later, on another cold Monday night, the same lonely bus stop stood beneath the flickering streetlight. This time, several people were waiting there. An old man quietly sat on the bench reading a newspaper. On the front page was a shocking headline: "Young man found dead near London bus stop. Mystery remains unsolved." Below the headline was Henry's photograph. Old man slowly lowered the newspaper, and standing near the edge of the bus stop was Henry, completely silent, rain falling around him. A cold smile slowly appeared across his face. Through the fog, the old double-decker bus returned once again. Fife, final ready. The doors slowly opened. Henry stepped inside.